Hello. So I'm back to Simon Brett again. This one is called The Liar in the Library. It's a feathering mystery. This is the feathering number 18. This is the first feathering I've read. I've been reading a few Simon Bretts recently, and there's a lot of them. So this is the first feathering, and I read a Charles Paris. Now there's a decluttering one, and I read one of those. There is the Mrs. Pargeter mysteries. I haven't read a Mrs. Pargeter's. I think there's a couple other series of mysteries as he's written. But anyway, this one is from 2017, I believe, and it has to do with someone who dies in the library. Well, he doesn't have to die in the library, he dies just right outside the library. And it starts out, the setup is we have Jude. Jude and Carol are the amateur sleuths in Feathering, and at least in this one. I don't know if they are in the other ones. I assume so. So we have Jude and Carol, two women. Jude is a healer. She does healing things, some alternative medicine, whatever. So she attends a reading of this guy Burton, who she remembers as Al because she knew him back when he was married to a friend of hers, some years back, and an actress friend of hers, and they split up. And Al became this Burton, and finally, after writing numerous novels, he becomes a successful novelist. What is it called? The scattering of the leaves, or the leaves of autumn, or something. The stray leaves of autumn, I think, is what the title of his big hit book. So he's come to the library there to read his do a reading of his book, and of course answer questions and so forth. Fethering, I guess, is a small town somewhere on the south coast, which I think is where Mr. Brett actually lives himself. So he knows the turf, and once again, the akin to cozy mysteries, I guess, that happened in small towns, not busy urban areas, so forth. It's all kind of more contained in. Anyway, the writer who comes in is Burton, who Jude had known in this previous lifetime, uh, ends up dead in his car the next morning. And he is hit on Jude the night before, and moved on her physically because that was his style. He had a reputation for doing a good deal of drinking and carrying a flask, a silver flask with whiskey in it or whatever, and for hitting on women, and for being a failed writer, and still he's a successful one. And he's remarried, and so we go through the whole mystery story thing, and yeah, it's a pretty good one. I enjoyed it. I of course had no idea who was going to be the killer. The elements that are brought into it are classic golden age of crime experts and fans. So there's two or three, two. So it's like another sort of failed writer is also in the picture, who wears camis all the time, camouflage outfits, and Doc Martens. And there is a a former TV producer who's getting on and is no longer getting the TV producer jobs, and his wife has died recently, and he's also a fan of the old mysteries. So, the Golden Age. And there's an expert woman from America who is a Golden Age expert, and she's very proud of her expertness. And so, of course, all these people are potential suspects, as well as Jude was with this one. Jude is concerned because it's kind of getting pinned on her because she was, potentially the last one to have been seen with this guy because he offered her a ride home because it was raining. But then after he made his move on her, she said, "Nope, sorry, I'm just going to walk," and walked back in the rain and got soaked. And so, yeah, so it wraps up nicely, and I like the conclusion very much. These are fun, interesting little novels. He includes things of the current days in them, so they seem modern and relevant in certain particular ways, like computer technology and so forth. And so The Liar in the Library by Simon Brett. It was a interesting book, and I enjoyed it. So